Hey, what's up? Travis here at Books, Builds, and More, and today I'm doing a review for a Lego set, Tiny Plants from the Legos Botanical Collection line. And after I do the review, I'm actually going to rank these. These are individual builds, and I'm going to rank them in strictly by my personal aesthetic, just how they look, not in terms of building difficulty or anything like that, or favorite build. It's just going to have to be look because, and I'm going to explain this in the review, there was a lot of stuff in here. These flower pots were exactly the same thing to build over and over again. So without further ado, let's get to the review. So as you can see, there are 9 individual models in this one set. None of them connect together. They are meant to be individually displayed, however you like to put them, however you want to put them, and in your home or whenever. They would make nice little decorations. I mean, this was a pretty okay build, but I got to be honest, it got kind of monotonous because, as you can see, they're in groups of 3. These are done in groups of 3, and you even had 3 different instruction books where you have a small, a medium, and a large in terms of the flower pot, but not necessarily the plant build. Well, although I guess, like looking at something like this, the bigger the plant, the bigger the pot, and you've got these like little tiny ones here. So, but the flower pots were the same exact builds, the same exact type of build. So it got a little monotonous each time. So my favorite parts of the build were obviously just building the different looks of the plants. Now, I did say that there were 3 sets per instruction booklet, and like I've got them rearranged in how they were built. Like obviously the first one, the small one, you always build in each set, you always build the small one and you go up. So we had the Venus flytrap. This one is called a red sundew. And this one is called a yellow pitcher plant. Pretty unusual build. Okay, in the second set, we have what we call here, starting with the small one, is a Britain's Live Forever. Then we have an Eastern Prickly Pear. And then we have a pincushion cactus. And in the last set here, we have what you call a false shamrock. Then you have a jade plant. And then you end with a lace leaf. I don't want to pick that one up. It might fall apart on me. Well, maybe. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the names of the plants. And like I said, they're fairly easy to put together. A lot of different kinds of, a lot of different looks to them. Like, for example, this one uses the false shamrock here. It uses the butterflies. And then the jade plant uses like the ball cap pieces that you would put. I've only seen this in one other set that I built. I can't remember what it was, but they use a lot of really neat, and then this one uses like the seashell to give the illusion of flower, the petals and stuff on the plant. Now, they just have very unique looks to them. Like the prickly pear here actually moves. You can actually display it a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this camera with one hand as well. I need to get me a gimbal or something. And of course, you have the Venus flytrap here. Oop! My bad. I'm clumsy today anyway. It doesn't fully close. It does open a little bit, but it doesn't fully close. But you can you can display these however you want. That's the beauty of, one of the beauties of Lego sets. And this was unusual, this pincushion cactus here. I don't know. Now, this one was pretty unique too. This one, what was this one called again? Oh, the yellow pitcher plant. It's actually greenish, so I'm calling false advertisement on that one. Now, if you'll also look down inside the pots on some of these, like this one. This one uses like these little hairbrush pieces, which I thought were cool. You know, for this one, the red sundew. I think that's what it's called. I have to keep looking at I can't remember. I'm not a botanist, so I'm not, even for even if it's plastic plants. But yeah, I think this is an okay set to build. Not my favorite I've ever built. I do like the fact that it's individual. You know, you have individual models in there that you can build them. Like I said earlier, the building of the flower pots was a bit monotonous. It was the same build, like same exact way to build them each time. Like, for example, all the small ones were the same. There were differences because of the sizes, certainly build, but they were all the same. Like all the medium sizes were the same, as well as all the large ones. So obviously the more exciting part of the builds for me were actually building the plants themselves. Now, of course, obviously the smaller ones take the fewest, because they're tiny, they take the least amount of time and had the least parts to them, and so forth and so on. So it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, it was an okay set. I thought it was an okay set. And now I'm going to rank these individually, starting from my least favorite to most favorite, only in terms of my personal preference, based strictly on look. Like I said, the building challenges, it wasn't all that challenging a set. In fact, like I said, it was monotonous. I've already gotten the review out of the way, everything I really wanted to say about it, because there really wasn't a whole lot to this set. But I do like some of these plants more than others, and I felt like it would be just kind of a different thing also for me to do a kind of ranking, something I haven't done yet in one of these building videos, or any video really. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So stick around if you want to see which is my least favorite and which plant I think looks the best. Starting at number 9, my least favorite of these plants, even though they all look nice and unique, but this one was just a little bit boring to me, and that's the false shamrock. Yeah, even though it uses the butterfly-shaped pieces for the leaves and stuff, it's still just one color. You're just looking at one color, all this purple. I mean, aside from the flower pot, which is brown, but the flower pot, you know, that's just a given with this kind of a set. Now, while I'm not opposed to monocolor on a Lego set, it just, to me, it just feels like it needs to also look good if it's going to utilize mostly one color. But this one, it's, of all of these, it's nice. It's a nice little tiny plant. It really is. And it's going to look good sitting somewhere, maybe on my bookshelf or somewhere else. I might put this one out at my reading station for a little bit of aesthetic. I don't know yet, but it's just the most boring one to me. At number 8, I'm going to have to go with the lace leaf. And I just feel like this one, it is slightly better than the false shamrock, but I kind of like the false shamrock look a little bit better, simply, but at least it looks fuller. This just doesn't look full enough. However, I have to give this one step up above the false shamrock for the simple fact that there is, and I think this is the only one in the entire set that has one little added detail to it, and it's this little right there, see if I can get it there, a little printed piece of a ladybug to give it a little bit of character. And it, but even with that added character, this one little model right here just didn't do a whole lot for me. You know, it doesn't look full like all the rest of these plants. Even these tiny ones look fuller than this, but that's the only reason this one didn't go to number 9, is because it does have that one little added detail that I think does give it a little bit more character. Plus, with the added color and the leaves and stuff. I mean, this one actually looks more like a plant than the false shamrock, but not by much. At number 7, I'm going with the yellow pitcher plant. This one is kind of like a combination of the last two. It's almost completely monocolored like the false shamrock, but it doesn't look full either, just like the last one, the lace leaf. So yeah, but the only reason I've got it up here above those is because you can move a couple of these pieces around. Again, you can display a little bit more from this one. At number 6, I'm ranking the red sundew. Again, almost monocolored except for the pink and yellow tip of the flower and the red stem. But I think it has an unusual look with the hairbrush pieces that are on there to give it that kind of prickly plant, look to it. But at least this one looks full. At number 5, the jade plant. It has a full look. It looks almost like a bonsai tree, a miniature bonsai tree in a way. But I do like the ball cap pieces. It's an unusual little build, but it kind of I don't know. It's again monocolored, but that's not a bad thing. I just think it looks unusual. I can deal with the monocolored, like the false shamrock. I can deal with that, as long as it looks a little bit full and unusual. But I don't know. There's just something about, I guess because it looks so much like a bonsai tree, and I love bonsai trees. And they've got a really great bonsai tree Lego set, by the way, that's out there that I really like to get and build it at some point. I mean, it's a beautiful set. And yeah, I think that's what kind of appealed to me, and that's what's brought it up to number 5. At number 4, I have to go with the Britons Live Forever. One of the tinier pieces, one of the simpler ones, but it looks great. I like the combination of colors in this, and it looks like an actual flower. I think, in my personal opinion, of all of these, this one actually looks like an actual flower, except for my number 1, which I will get to, of course, here in just a minute. But I don't know. I just really like the blending of the colors on this one. It just looks amazing. I think it looks like a really cool little plant. And yeah, still, it's here at number 4. Down to my top 3, and my third one is the prickly pear, and I like this one because you can move it around. So you've got some display options here. Now, monocolored, yes, definitely does not look full at all. So you're probably thinking, you idiot, why are you saying that some of those others didn't look full? I just like the overall look of it. It just looks neat. I like the printed tiles. These are actually printed tiles to give it more character, to make it actually look like a plant. But I also love the flexibility of this. I don't know. I'm just in love with this one. I can deal with the non-fullness to it, but I don't know. I just love it because I feel like it's just really, really neat. And of course, I'm sure if you follow this video along, you know what the last 2 are, but where do they fall? At number 2, I'm going with the Venus flytrap. Simple, one of the smaller ones, of course. Very obvious. I think it just looks neat, very miniature. It almost reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors in a way. That's not to say that's a reason why I like it, but I do like the look of this. I mean, it's just one of my favorite looks to a Lego set, ever, especially for a tiny plant set like this. Which means, of course, my favorite at number 1 is the cactus. The pincushion cactus. So it's completely full. One of the larger builds, not that the size had anything to do with that, but it's got, this is another one, just like the tiny Britons Live Forever. This looks like an actual cactus. I mean, and it was just, again, not building difficulty, because it wasn't. None of these were difficult to build at all. But this one just looks the fullest. Ooh, and it's about to fall apart on me. And yeah, I just love it. This is, out of all these tiny plants, this one is Absolutely, hands down, my favorite one. So that's it, my review and ranking of the tiny plants from the Legos Tiny Plant Botanicals collection set. And let me know, what did you have a favorite plant? Did you have a least favorite plant in this video? If you stuck with me this long, I want to thank you so much for watching. And until the next video, have a good one.